Good morning, I'm Henry Flint from Efficient Private Clients and I'm here with Davy Rood, Group Economist at Efficient Group. Hello Davy.
Hello Henry.
Davy, it's election time. You've been analysing a couple of political parties. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I've been looking at some political parties and I analyse it based on three variables. The most important one is of course track record. How good have they been in the instances where the political parties were in power? Secondly, I looked, and it's quite subjectively, at the leadership of the various political parties. Then thirdly, which is especially important for the new or the smaller political parties, and that is their policies as expressed in the manifestos of these political parties.
Okay, so let's start with the ANC. How do you rate them on track record?
On track record, I'm afraid the ANC has a terrible track record. I believe the ANC is probably the most destructive force the South African economy has ever experienced. And we can see it in many levels. We can see, for example, the mismanagement at the state-owned enterprises, even the state itself, the services provided by the state, like for example education, everything is, compared to other countries in the world, is really doing absolutely horrible. Especially the past 10 years, we've seen a significant deterioration in things like, for example, confidence in South Africa, and the South African economy reacted quite negatively because of inferior political leadership coming especially from the ANC. It happened mostly the past 10 years, but it actually started long before that.
Okay. So there's a lot of expectations that the ANC will win the election and that things will change and for the better. Do you think this is actually going to happen, and is it going to happen immediately, or what's your take on that?
Well, that's a question about leadership and the quality of leadership. I think the ANC's leadership is quite a weak leadership, and it's weak for a number of reasons. Firstly, because Cyril Ramaphosa has been elected with a tiny margin, so he hasn't really consolidated that much power in the ANC or within the alliance as yet. Secondly, we do know that many of the leadership and that are still in power within the leadership in the ANC are very much compromised, including the president, because they have been around while the looting of the state in South Africa happened, especially the past 10 years or so. So I think the narrative is that the good guys, reading Cyril Ramaphosa, will consolidate the power and they will start doing good things. I'm not so sure about that, simply because of the rot in the ANC itself.
Okay. That leads me to the policy, but I mean, you said that you analyse political parties and policy is one of the factors you look at. What do you think about the ANC's policy then?
Well, we know what the ANC's policies are because they have been in power for a long time. The policies of the ANC, if you want to put it in ideological terms, is certainly a left-leaning political party, and in fact they're moving even more to the left if you read what they say in their manifestos. Things like, for example, the nationalisation of the South African Reserve Bank, prescribed assets, and that sort of interventionist policies of the ANC is clearly of a political party that's left-leaning and probably going to move further to the left on the political spectrum.
Thanks, Davy. Is there anything positive about the ANC?
Well, I guess the only positive part that one can really distill from this is that it's more of the same. I do believe that Cyril Ramaphosa will be in a position to consolidate his power a little bit. I think that is exactly what the financial markets want, and if that indeed is the case, I expect the financial markets to react positive to that. So we're certainly in a period that's going to be better than what we've experienced the past 10 years, but the damage the past 10 years was quite significant. But I do believe under strong leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa, things can improve, but then we need a very strong political leader, and Cyril Ramaphosa is probably the best that the ANC can offer.
Thank you, Davy.